Hi, I'm Kate Hargreaves, and my poetry collection, Tend, is being released by Book Hug Press on October 13th of this year, 2022. And I am truly excited for it to be released, and I'm going to share a little bit about it with you. So, Tend is a collection that really clings to what's tangible. It's got dusty floors and cats on gates and eggshells in the compost and flowers with snap stems and all of these physical, tangible things that bring me so much interest and joy in a lot of ways. Its poems are, I would call them restless in many ways. They sort of explore the tension between comfort and isolation, between memory and between the sort of unsure future and the often sometimes painful weight of inhabiting a body. The writing process of Tend did take several sharp turns. I initially thought that I was writing something that was quite different from my first collection, Leak, which was really steeped in the language of the body, and I thought what I was doing was sort of grappling with the specificity of place, of Windsor, especially of the sounds and the smells of, the trains that grabbed onto my memories of elsewhere and really pulled me in. And then with the isolation, as a concept taking on such a different meaning for many people, the experience of place and how I explored the distance between people really changed, and my focus on the sort of minutiae of, the shed fur and the rattling ducks began to feel almost claustrophobic. And in the middle of all that, in one truly awful moment, I suffered a traumatic injury in that I had an open fracture of the bones in my shin. And while people, perhaps rightly so, suggested that it would certainly be a source of poetic inspiration, the reality was that pain and the sort of psychological distress that went along with it, especially in the first few months, was too much to kind of find that silver lining creatively. So eventually I did find myself sort of writing back kind of around that trauma and kind of writing through the weeds and the fish flies until I found myself inevitably back at the body. And I couldn't really imagine how the earlier poems that I had written would fit in before what felt like a split in my life, as well as a literal split in my bones. But somehow, and of course, really, they did, because the body was there all along, and the distance was there, and that sensation of being stuck was there, albeit a little bit different, the grasping at memories as well. And so with all those sharp edges and the viscera and everything that felt so painful, there was also the rose of Sharon growing in the alley and the pumpkin vine kind of stretching out across the pebbles, and that impetus to tend to the things where they had fractured or broken down. So I hope that in meeting Tend, readers get something out of that tension, that they find the tension between the sharpness and the soft, and that they can, hear the fish flies popping on the road and the kettle boiling. And I'm excited for readers to kind of come along with me on this longer look at those boring, small or mundane things, the squirrels and the cracks in the sidewalk, and taking those moments to tend to the hives and the breaks and the weeds. So if that sounds appealing to you, you can pre-order Tend from bookhugpress.ca now, or you can pre-order it from your favorite independent bookstore, and it will be released on lucky October 13th of 2022. And with that, I will just share a quick poem from Tend, July. The shivering off of translucent exteriors, less snake-like than half-life fish fly out in Bell River mid-July, shedding crisp shadows of past selves, identical cast-offs on the breeze. Flick off your porch light or risk a swarm, freshly molted masses in search of any glow. Vestigial mouths brush ears. Feet grow sticky and hair tell us the water's growing clearer. Abandoned skins collecting in porch corners, a sign of good health. In the county, they send cars fishtailing on carcasses, popping under tire treads like a fire pit spitting embers that leaves tiny burns in the two long sleeves of your jumper. The shower coaxes the wood smoke from your hair, macerates all that's between your toes, softens calluses that forget the feel of floors. Thank you so much.